Well, I'm back at it here once again on the Husqvarna 357 XP project saw. Box of parts saw, I guess, whatever you want to call it. I went ahead here off camera here this evening and installed the carburetor back in it. If you recall in the last video, I had got the cylinder bolted down after doing some piston modification there. Putting the cylinder assembly back on the saw after I went ahead and cut down the piston skirt, the lower piston skirts, or raised them up, whatever you want to call it. I trimmed a little off the back and the front to balance it out, but I went ahead and raised the intake side of the piston skirt a little bit to give it a little bit better, pull a little more flow into the crankcase, and to essentially push a little more fuel air mix through the saw and try and give it a little bit more. So we'll see if that'll work or if it'll be a flop, but the piston had some light scoring on it, so it's already had some damage. Not horrible. I went ahead and cleaned it up, and like I say, it still has excellent compression, so I went ahead and did a base gasket delete. Squish before sealer was at right at 25,000, so add a couple thousands usually for the moto seal that I use, and it would put you right in the 27,000 probably once all said and done. So I haven't done an ignition timing advance on it yet. I might do that going forward. Not the end of the world to go ahead and pull the recoil off and pop the flywheel and file the keyway and advance it a little bit, but right now I'm just reassembling the saw and getting it all back together. Like I say, I got the carburetor assembly back on. I think I mentioned in the previous video here when I was working on it, I was kind of disappointed. I noticed somebody replaced the factory original carb with a Chinese aftermarket. So whether this carb is going to actually work or not, I don't know. And I don't know if it worked for the previous owners or not. I have no idea. I went ahead and off camera again, I pulled the diaphragm plates and checked the metering lever, and sure enough it was way low from where it should be, so chances are the needle and seat were not opening and letting enough fuel in. So another one of those issues with these carbs, they're poorly set up. That is if the jets and everything work in here like it should. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to get on with it here and just start reassembling. I went ahead and went over a bunch of little things. I'm going to go ahead now and reinstall my brake handle here. It was off the saw when I got it. A couple little things I'll make mention here. You got to make sure you have your little tin keeper here. There's like a clip here, like a wear clip that goes on this side here, and they got this pops in over here. And on the opposite side over here, where the brake handle goes down, when you put your screw in, they have a thin little washer, like a machine washer. It's like a little stainless steel washer that goes in here, in between the body of the saw and your brake handle, your tabs here. Because if you don't, it will wear into the plastic will wear into the magnesium casing of the saw. So you got to make sure you have that washer in place before you put your bolt or your screw in. So just something that has to be done. Go ahead and sorry, I know probably everything is out of shot of the camera, so to speak, but just go ahead and getting everything, get a few threads started there. We'll get this one in over here. You got to make sure that on these here you're careful that your that spring there that I was showing you to go flying across the room, because you will lose them, and I have in the past, not on this saw but on other projects I have. That spring is pretty stiff, so to get your handle in here you got to, for whatever reason this thing is fighting me tooth and nail here. Now, some of you are probably laughing at me watching me struggle with this, saying, well, that's not how you get it in there. Well, Actually, you know what? I'm going about this ass backwards. Just get this in here, or it should be, and then you pop it in after. Once it's in, it's in. And it tucks in behind the... You've got like a skirt here on the... They've got like a recessed edge on the inside edge of your brake. That's where your brake actuator is for your chain brake, because they got the mechanism in the cover, in your chain brake cover. And there's that. That's good there. I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall my main handle. So the screws wouldn't get lost. A lot of this was re-threaded back into the AV mount spring here. All my fasteners and hardware were not misplaced, so actually I'm going to go ahead. I haven't even checked this to make sure that my you just go ahead and slip your see, like that. My cylinder bolt was loose, so good thing I checked to make sure that don't want to over tighten, because it's a pretty small bolt. You can strip the thread in the cylinder. It is just white metal after all, but it is important that you check those things. I'll go ahead and my isolation spring mount. I'm not going to tighten it down all the way. I'm just going to get all the screws started. Now, something here I want to show you folks, that this is a common mistake on these 357s, 359s, Johnson Red 2156, 2159s, and the 346 XPs and all those saws in that family. Even though these are a little bit larger chassis than the 346 XP, they are built pretty much identical. Otherwise, just these are sized up a little bit, that's all. They share a lot of the fasteners, like handlebar screws and stuff. The handlebars are different, the chain brake handle is different, but things like all your hardware and stuff like that is pretty much all interchangeable on these chassis of these saws. But something is very important that I want to show you folks here. On your handlebar screws, of course, there's 5. You have one over here, like I just showed you here on the isolation spring here to the cylinder. Of course, you've got 2 on your fuel tank on the side, and another 2 up underneath on the front of the tank at the underside. But there's a big difference in your mounting hardware. As you can see, they have a short and long ones. They have 3 long ones. The 3 long ones is, one long one goes over here on the isolation buffer mount on the side of the cylinder, and then you have the 2 long ones that go to the fuel tank side on the outside edge. Now these 2 short ones go up on the front of the handle underneath, and it's important that you do not mix them up and put long ones at the bottom going up in, because what will happen is these long ones protrude through the front of that handle. And what happens is the end of this screw here, about almost a quarter of an inch of it will stick up, and it will start poking into the crankcase of the saw. And what will happen is it'll eventually, and it doesn't take long, I've seen them within a few weeks of running saws, guys will make the mistake of mixing them up, and what will happen is the end will poke a hole through into your chain oil tank into the crankcase. Well, then at that point you're pretty much screwed your saw, or else you're going to be doing a JB weld fix. So that's your only option at that point. But I've seen lots of saws ruined because of that, of simply mixing up, they're not paying attention to the fasteners. So it's important that, like I say, that you use the 3 long ones on the side here on the cylinder mount, and your 2 side fuel tank mount, and then the 2 short ones up underneath. So if I sound like a broken record, well, it's because I've seen a lot of saws buggered up over the years of silliness like that. So another thing also is important when you start your fuel tank screws that you don't cross thread them, because you can inadvertently poke a hole in your fuel tank if you're not careful. So anyways, get everything started and get it 3/4 of the way in, and I'll go ahead and roll the saw over, and we'll get these bottom ones here mounted. I've kind of grown a fondness for these saws, this chassis. Don't know why, but I've now come to really enjoy working on these chassis. They are still one of the simpler models out there to work on, besides the older 200 series, which are silly simple to work on, and I really enjoy working on those saws. Now that I've got them all started, I'm going to start going ahead and cinching these down. These 300 series saws were pretty much the last of the saws that are before the auto tunes, that were extremely simple to work on and not see, we've got a screw here that's pretty much it tightens up, but it's almost pretty much stripped, so there isn't a whole lot of options you can do with that. You can actually tap out the plastic and put a Healy coil in it. Same with these side ones here in the tank. Some people are scared of doing that. I haven't done it yet. Not everybody wants to take the chance of putting an insert into a plastic, into a plastic tank, but if it's already stripped, you really don't have much choice, or you got nothing to lose kind of at that point. So one other option is, when something like this is now lost its bite, take a small plastic zip tie, slip it in the hole beside the screw, and then turn the screw in, and it'll create a little bit of friction where it'll bite in. It's not a really good fix, but it'll some guys have good luck with it. It'll last quite a while, so I don't know. That's probably what I'm going to try with this one, because like I say, this isn't not exactly a show saw. It's just a good it would be a good work saw now that I'm going through it. And final tidbit is this little rubber grommet here. This little keeps your plastic top cover from sagging down onto the cylinder and melting. So now, unfortunately, I don't have a good muffler to finish my assembly here, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this now. I was going to go ahead and order a couple of aftermarket cheap import mufflers for these saws, because I have another one that's a project there that's got a buggered up muffler, and I need a muffler for this one, because like I mentioned, the reason this one got piston and a little bit of cylinder damage was because of rust in a muffler, and this is the culprit here. Not just rusty on the outside, it's also rusty on the inside. Somebody thought they were doing a great thing by putting this crappy old muffler on the saw, and that's what basically killed it to start with. So like I say, I was going to go ahead and order a new couple of new aftermarket mufflers from China, but as of current here of this video, at the time of this filming, there's a postal strike going on here in my area. I actually have a couple of parts orders that are held up now, sitting at various shipping depots, and well, who knows? It could be just a matter of days, could be weeks, or could be a month or two. I don't know. So those projects are now put on hold or put to the side, and probably won't happen until next year sometimes, because who knows? I'm busy with other things all the time. So, but anyways, I got my my side cover here for it. Just gotta dig up a bar and chain for it and put this back together. I think it is set up to run 325, so I'll probably run a 325 bar and chain. Just have to dig up something here, what I've got. And the missing link here now is a muffler or a pipe of some sort, and see if my piston modification is going to translate into a good running saw or a flop. But anyways, I'll take you folks along for it, and we'll see what happens. So Anyways, just like to say thanks everybody for stopping by and checking out another one of my videos, and if you don't mind, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you all on the next one.